Everyone, welcome to the AI Applied podcast. Today on the show, we want to talk about Google. They've had an absolutely monster week, as Connor was calling it offline. But they've rolled out a whole bunch of cool stuff with Maps, specifically getting Gemini, with Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Slides, everything getting Gemini deeper integrated. We love this because the show's AI Applied. We're actually telling you how to apply stuff, and I think there's so many applicable ways that the software you're using today just got a lot better. All of the whole Google suite and so many other areas. So we want to break down all of that and even talk about the $32 billion acquisition of Wix that Google's doing and where I think we're going to see that going with Google's overall play. I mean, it's just a Google episode. There's so much going down. Before we get into that, though, I did want to mention, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but Connor and I just started a new podcast called AI and Faith. Both of us, faith is a huge part of our lives and what we do. So we're just talking about ways that AI is impacting faith, and kind of how we integrate it in our day-to-day lives and in our faith and how we're thinking about it. So if that's an interesting, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but if that's an interesting show for you, you can go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description to this, to the new show. Just launched it. And we'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Okay, Connor, kicking this over to you to kick us off with, tell us, I'm curious really with the Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, kind of the Google workspace, what are the integrations? What are the use cases? What are the features that you're most excited about that they're rolling out?
I think Google is going to remain in front on this. I have a hard time seeing anybody else overtake it. The idea is that this workspace embed essentially, right? So it's like it's docs, it's sheets, it's slides, it's drives. But the idea here is that Gemini has so far existed as kind of a side panel. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's almost like you sort of like open up Gemini as a and almost like another window right beside what you're doing. And it's been pretty good about sort of like helping you out, but now it's becoming this I hate to use the word collaborator because it sounds like so like jargony, but it really does, right? So you can actually start drafting things, in Gemini, it can start pulling in your Gmail into your chat, into your, from your Drive, et cetera. Like in Drive, you just, ask a question like, what are the risks for this project or something like that? And it will come back, it'll go through your Drive and actually sort of like source that out and answer the question. So I want to and again, same thing, like in sheets and stuff like that. It's like, hey, create this, and and whatever. Slides. Slides are okay. I think Nano Banana actually has the best slides of all time. But anyway, the point is, there are these sort of like things that you can't tell sometimes, Jaden, if it's big news or not big news. I think that this is actually sort of big news because essentially what we're talking about here is even for those power users who are using either a Claude extension in Chrome or using Gemini over on the side and then saying, hey, Gemini, help me draft this thing, all that kind of stuff. The fact that it's all connected now, and they've been talking about connectors and things like that forever, but the fact that you can go into Drive and not just sort of say like, hey, pull out this stuff, and now you pull it into Gemini and say, hey, examine these 3 documents. The question I'm asking is there a risk associated with this, or what are our opportunities? Gemini has gone into the Drive now. And so now you're just in one place. And the reason I say I think this is a big deal, but I'm not sure how I'm not sure it'll feel like a big deal to people yet, is because this is definitely what the future is. It's all going to be an integrated system. So you're not just sort of like popping out to go talk to your chatbot and then diving back into your docs. It's really all integrated. And Maps is kind of a good example too. You mentioned Maps. Now, I didn't see some of the demos I really wanted to see in Maps, to be honest. And Jaden, I think you said you tried it, but like for me, you can just kind of like talk to Maps and say like, hey, I'm really looking, I'm going out with 4 friends and we're going to we're going to be in Midtown Manhattan. What's a good spot? Think about it. You could have asked Gemini that, and then you could have gone into Maps and done that. But now in Maps, Gemini is just there. And so
Yep.
it's just this slow integration. And the reason I'm kind of like harping on it and kind of hovering on it a little bit is that it's not like there's a big new capability. It's all the same capability. The interesting thing is for people who are not power users, who don't really use AI, and all of a sudden you're in Maps and you're used to just being like cafe, Midtown Manhattan, and it shows up 5 things. But now it's going to be like, well, what kind of cafe are you looking for? And I think people will be startled who are not power users to be like, wait, you mean I can just talk to it? That's what feels like the big thing. So again, for people listening, I'm not sure it's going to feel like a big deal. I think though, putting AI where people are and just integrating it into where you are is actually how you move the needle with billions of people around the world.
100%. And by the way, if any of you guys have been watching while Connor's been talking, I've been playing around and demoing both the new features of Gemini inside of Sheets and Google Docs. Otherwise, there's a link to the YouTube video in the bottom if you want to see this. And by the way, everyone, very soon Apple Podcast is going to start doing video, so you'll get all these videos as well. We're lined up with a distributor that'll be able to get that as soon as it's happening. I've applied for the beta. I'm on bated breath waiting
Nice.
for it. So you should get all that cool stuff inside of Apple Podcasts as well soon. But here's the things that I'm super stoked about. Guys, I was just, while Connor was talking, I was playing around with Google Docs and I was like, hey, make me like an AI box investor update because I have a coming up an advisory board meeting next week. And so, give me some stuff. In 2 seconds, it built me out like the most incredible document. Now, it's
Gosh,
got
that's
dummy data in there.
unbelievable.
Yeah, but this thing took 2 seconds and it's linked to like, okay, you're going to want to like, it's like asking me to link it to files inside of like my drive where I could have stuff
Wait,
in there.
wait, wait. Pause, pause, pause. Jaden, because I'm watching this, and a lot of people this may be an audio medium for people. So, Jaden, you have an investor meeting coming because I'm watching this and I'm kind of blown away. By the way, we're not plugging Google. I'm just like legit blown away. It's like, Jaden, I can't believe what you just did. Show me again that product. But so, okay, so you went into Drive, and where did you type it, and what did you say? Because what Jaden's showing us here, guys, is like what looks like an incredible investor deck, and not a slide deck, but just like with pictures, with tables, everything else. It's amazing. So tell us what you actually did. You went into Drive and you did what?
So I just went and opened a new Google Doc, and there's a huge pop-up that's like, start creating with Gemini, help me create. And there's just a bar like you would chat GPT. And I said, a report for my investors about my company, AI Box. I could get a lot more specific, talk about how we almost doubled revenue last month, talk about how I'd probably, realistically, if I was going to try to spend more than 3 seconds for a demo on this show, I'd probably go and copy and paste like all of a lot of our data from our kind of like admin dashboard about how the company has progressed over the last quarter and just plug it in here and it will probably automatically fill that all out. But I mean, even without doing all of that, so it's kind of cool. You can go and like edit your prompt and it can update it. And then as well, you have a button for the sidebar here. So on the sidebar, I did like tell it to go and I said add that our revenue almost doubled last month. It threw this thing in, and then there's a little button at the bottom of once it does that where you can click insert, and it will insert what you just did on the side into the actual document. So like again, it's really cool. And a
Incredible.
lot of the stuff, perhaps you're like, well, what's the big deal? I could do this on ChatGPT. Yeah, but what did you used to do? And me, anyways, it was I go to ChatGPT, I work on this stuff, I make it, give me these things, I copy and paste it into Google Docs, I kind of build my thing or into Microsoft Word. Now it's like built into these tools. You just talk
Right.
to the tool and it builds the whole thing out. And because it's native, it integrates. It's so cool. Okay,
Right.
so the Docs was really cool. I also tried Sheets. Um, I asked it to like generate a table for tracking my personal projects, insert columns for project name, status, etc. I just did that on the side. It automatically created that table, and I just clicked this insert button, and all of a sudden it pulled it like right into Sheets. So really cool on Sheets. Um, the final thing I wanted to say that I did recently try out that I was pretty stoked about was actually maps. And I know, like Connor, you're like, maybe I wish there was like more things with maps. Guys, I've been saying this. I mean, Google really has been the sleeping giant because they have the biggest distribution of the most widely used software tools. And now that they're finally plugging, their Gemini finally got really good. They can plug it in, and they're doing these
Mhm.
integrations. I think we're really going to see Google sweep up a lot, right? Because before it was like, oh, I'll use ChatGPT, then I'll plug it into Docs, or I'll use ChatGPT and I'll plug it into like Microsoft Excel. Well, now these tools are getting built right into the software. So Microsoft also is doing really well in this field. But maps, I was recently on a road trip. I was going down to the coast here in North Carolina. We're going to the beach. Connor was drooling a little bit because he was getting,
Oh
his
my
snow
god.
was melting, but I have a
Come on.
sunburn. My neck is peeling.
Whatever, man. Nobody cares. Yeah.
But on the way there, we got a bunch of kids. We're driving, and if you've ever done, I mean, it's only 2 hours, so I act like it's a long road trip, but it's something when you got kids and they're hungry. So I'm sitting there driving, and of course, you're not supposed to like be on your maps, like searching up and looking up stuff while we drive. And my wife gets car sick; she does not want to look at the phone. It was amazing. I just tapped on the Gemini button on there, and I was like, "Hey, like, we want something that's like quick, but like sort of like healthy, but we're like looking for some food. It's got to be like along the path that we're currently going. Can you find something that's not going to be like more than 5 minutes out of the way?" And it instantly finds it and it adds it to the route. There's no like click like button here, click accept, do this. Literally, you just tap the button and you talk to it. And maybe people are like, "Oh, this isn't cool because like Siri is supposed to deliver on this." Okay, obviously Siri
No.
doesn't do that,
Uh-uh.
but like this is what you want with a like with an
Yes.
AI assistant. And also once you start like my assumption here is being that the Google AI assistant is going to just be able to like integrate with all of the Google software. I would assume and hope, crossing my fingers, is also going to work on iOS as well as it does on Android. But yeah, you just probably talk to it, tell it what you want. It's a thing where it's just like ChatGPT in voice mode. It's so useful and interesting, but now it integrates with all of the Google suite, which is like a ton of the stuff I use. So, anyways, I was really impressed with it, and how I didn't have to take my eyes off the road,
Yep.
click around on this little screen while trying to like swerve and not veer into
It's a
traffic. So it's
okay, okay,
fantastic.
okay, Jaden, I stand corrected. That was essentially the feature that I hadn't seen in the demos or when I had tried it. But that's because, if you think about it, like, I jump into my car and it immediately connects to CarPlay, so I'm not like on Google Maps. Do you know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
I'm sort of
Mhm.
like just viewing the visual of the map. But if it was on my phone and my phone was sort of like, on a dashboard holder or something like that, and I could literally just click a button and say, because that, Jaden, you just named the exact use case I want, which is like,
It was
hey,
amazing.
I'm
It was
driving, like,
smooth
is
as
there a
butter.
Chick-fil-A within, 2 miles, or is there a gas station, or whatever? That's the thing I wanted, and you're saying that it has it. So I guess
Yep.
one of the but Jane, now we sort of, like, started running into, like, the problem of how user interface works, because Apple CarPlay
True.
wouldn't really allow you to do that. So now we're
Yep.
talking about, like, redesigning an entire infrastructure around that. But if you can just have your phone, okay, maybe that's why I didn't see it. Okay, wow. Totally huge issue to cover on this. Jaden, anything else sort of like on this topic? Because I know we're already coming up on time a little bit, but like anything else on this topic that was sort of like interesting you about Google? Because I'll tell you that what Google is doing is just unbelievable in this space, and I think that they will actually help drive adoption more than anybody else.
100% agree. Last thing I'll just wrap on is the $32 billion acquisition of Wix. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Wix, the website builder. Why is Google building that?" And I'll tell you exactly why I think Google's buying Wix and why I think it's a brilliant
$32
play.
billion. Wow.
It's
Okay.
a lot of money. It is a lot of money, and I'll admit that. It's because, I mean, obviously, it's got a lot of distribution and a good name and, users and stuff and revenue, so that's where the money comes in. But I think Google doesn't wanna get left behind in the same way that OpenAI and Anthropic, I believe, are getting left behind to a market segment of non-coding developers that want to vibe code. And what I mean by that is we recently did an episode on Lovable and Replit and Base 44. All of these software platforms, if you're not a developer, it will build your back end, your front end. You don't have to know anything. You just tell it what you want and it builds your tool. Now, Google is building some cool things in along this line, but I think that Wix is going to be basically their distribution to the quote unquote normie vibe coders like you and I that are not software developers. Google has awesome tools for developers. I know they're trying to make people tools for people that are not developers, but OpenAI and Anthropic both are struggling in this regard. They kind of just have underlying infrastructure tools like Codex and Claude Code, but those aren't something that a non-coder can really go and build like easily go and build a tool, which I have done with Lovable over and over again. Recommended it to a ton of people. My wife was just sitting in bed there the other day and created an entire app of something that she wanted to do in like 20 minutes. And that's the magic moment that I think Google's trying to chase by getting Wix, sticking their technology in there. They've got a website builder, they've got their tech in there, and I think they'll really take over in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's actually going to be huge, and this is sort of like, again, where AI, where the money is really going to be made is when you're reaching people who are just absolutely non-tech and just make it as easy as possible. It's what Squarespace. It's just it's how these companies made so much money. But 32 billion, holy cow! Guys,
Incredible.
thank you for tuning in. Listen, if you haven't tried out AI Box, make sure you do. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is Jaden Software Company where you can spend what is it, $8.99 a month, and you
Yep.
can sort of get access to 40 models, all just sort of comparing and contrasting. It's my favorite thing to do. You can build out workflows, you can do a million things. Check it out if you haven't already, and if you want to leave us a rating and review, you'd be the best. We'd be like eternally grateful, and just always grateful for you guys tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.